I would capture an Abyss Herald. Beat him up. Well, we may have to beat him up to capture him, and force him to open a portal to the Abyss and pump water into the Abyss. If we're lucky, this may start an all-out war, forcing Celestia and the other Archons to get involved to avoid another Kinria situation. One day the water levels in Fontaine will rise, and the sinful people will slowly be drowned. In today's video, I would like to discuss how I would attempt to solve or manage the water crisis in Fontaine, or how I think Furina could go about tackling this problem. I may switch POV from time to time. The ideas are split into 3 categories. Practical. These are ideas that I think could work. Impractical. These are ridiculous ideas for the fun of it. And biased. These ideas are how I think each of the other Archons could solve or manage this water problem that the Hydro Archon doesn't seem to know how to solve yet. So first, let's start with the practical ideas. Practical. 1. Make a deal with the Tsaritsa. Nahi that used the power of 2 Gnosis to repair her Minsel. The Tsaritsa currently has 5 Gnosis, including her own. With this many, there is no telling what she could do. From something as small as making the entire lake disappear, to completely breaking or overriding the prophecy itself. And of course, she would do it in exchange for the Hydronosis. And the rich get richer. 2. Move. Yep. The people of Fontaine could just move to various nations before the prophecy is fulfilled. Simple. Kind of. Would the other Archons be okay with large groups of people suddenly moving to their nations? I don't know. It sucks having to leave everything behind and start all over. But it may be one of the best ways to avoid everybody getting wiped out. Would the waters follow them wherever they go and put the other nations in Teyvat at risk? Who knows? 3. Use the Hydro Dragon Sovereign's authority. Nouvelet indicated that he is not at full power as some of the Dragon Sovereign's power was stolen and forms the basis for the Archon's authority. So if the Dragon Sovereign would be able to solve this problem if he had his full power, then shouldn't the Hydro Archon be able to solve it since she has the Hydro Dragon Sovereign's authority? He just needs to tell her how he would do it if he had his full power, and then she can go ahead and do the same thing since she has this authority? No? Is it that power does not equal authority and authority does not equal power? If for whatever reason she can't, then maybe the Nouvelet's authority could be restored. Nouvelet noted that he does not believe that he would be able to do much unless the Archon disappears and returns their elemental authority. Does this mean he would need the Gnosis and the Archon also needs to die? I am not sure if all the authority is in the Gnosis or if it is split between the Gnosis and the Archons, and that's why both things need to happen. We know that the previous Hydro Archon died and another one was appointed. However, it doesn't appear that the authority went back to Nouvelet. Would it be sufficient if he gets the Gnosis, but Furina does not disappear? Or maybe it is exactly as he said it. Both things would probably need to occur. He noted that given the status quo, he recommends finding another way to deal with the prophecy. It seems that he does not appear willing to make her disappear. Would it really be reasonable to expect Furina to give him the Gnosis and make herself disappear to save the people of Fontaine? One of Nouvelet's Ascension voice lines mentions that he has reclaimed one of the 7 authorities and regained his true form. Now he is a fully fledged dragon. Is this a spoiler for the upcoming Archon quest, or more so for Endgame? What does this mean for Furina and the prophecy? I guess we will have to wait and see how things play out. Also, what impact would it have if a sovereign regains their authority? Would Celestia get involved? There seems to be more questions than answers at this point. 4. Pump water. I think one of the most practical solutions is to pump the water from the lake to the Sumera Desert. We will get more into that in a second. Do water pumps currently exist in Fontaine? I am not 100% certain. Based on the fact that there are fountains in Fontaine, I would assume the water is being pumped by a pump. However, if pumps currently do not exist in Fontaine, I don't think it is far-fetched to think that such a device could be developed by the Fontaine Research Institute of Kinetic Energy Engineering. The word kinetic is in their name and immediately conjures the image of movement. With all the technology that currently exists in Fontaine, the most advanced nation in Teyvat, to me it seems logical that they would be able to think about an idea to move water from one place to the next, and as such develop a device that could do that, i.e. a pump. They have airships, steamboats, mechs, anti-gravity machines, etc. If they can't come up with the idea for a device that can move water from one place to another and then proceed to make it, Then I don't know. That's like running before you're even able to creep. Okay, so back to the idea. If I was the archon, I would commission the Research Institute to make a device that can push water from one place to another. I'm not sure if Furina has oversight of the institute, similar to how Nahida has oversight of the academia, or they are completely independent. Can she ask them to do things? Would they refuse her if she asked? I would use the water pump to A. Supply water to villages in the desert, for example the Aru village and Caravan Ribbit. Is there running water in the homes in the Sumeru rainforest? I know that there is a body of water at the foot of the hill on which Aru village sits. I'll call it a pond. I am not sure if they have running water in their houses or if they currently get their water from this pond. We saw inside the village chief's house, and it didn't seem like there were any pipes or water faucets. There is a commission where we have to go down to the pond to catch water. I don't remember what for, if it was to water plants. But if they don't currently have running water, Fontaine could establish an above-ground or underground pipe network that would supply water to the homes in the village. People would no longer have to go to the pond to catch water to cook, bathe, wash, etc. They could have running water in their homes. They would no longer need to duk-duk in a bag and throw it over the hill. No more outside bathrooms and pit latrines. Pooing in a hole in the ground. Those days are done. Flush toilet in every house. Ceramic. You want a community pool? No problem. A jacuzzi for the village chief's house. Done. We care about you. From the bottom of our hearts. No ulterior motives. Side note, is the water in Teyvat safe to drink? Where do people in the various nations in Teyvat get drinking water? Is the water from the fresh water bodies we see safe to just drink? Do they boil it? Is there some treatment plant or process? I don't know. Don't tell me that the wine in Mondstadt and Fanta from Fontaine is made with dirty water. Gross. Just to be safe, the Fontaine Research Institute could also develop a water treatment plant for the water being supplied to the villages. They have the capability. I believe in them. B. Let's say that the Aru village and other desert villages already have water and don't need our help. Here's another idea. We know that there are frequent sandstorms in the desert, some bigger than others. We could propose a management solution for this. One of the reasons for the sandstorms is the fact that there is a lot of sand. Duh. So when a relatively strong wind blows, the sand gets blown around. Our solution is to dampen the sand in various parts of the desert frequently to reduce the sandstorms. We could set up a sprinkler system throughout the desert. We would pump water to the sprinkler system directly from the lake to dampen the sand. This would reduce sand being blown around each time there is a strong wind. Or, we could instead build huge tanks throughout the desert to store water. We would then pump water to fill these tanks, and those tanks would then connect to the sprinkler system. Either way, same result. Less sandstorms. I am sure the people who live in the desert would appreciate that. There is a whole lot of desert, so we would need a whole lot of water. We got water. The sand could be dampened daily, every other day, or whatever frequency is determined most optimal, based on how much water Fontaine wants to get rid of, or the water level Fontaine would like the lake to remain at, if any. C. Another solution is to pump water to desert areas that no one lives, for example realm of Farrakert and Gavare Lajavard. Some of it would be absorbed into the ground and some of it would be evaporated. It may eventually end up back in Fontaine as rain, but we just pump it back each time. It's a continuous cycle. D. Plant a lot of trees in the desert and use the lake water to water them. Basically, we would transform the entire desert into a rainforest or large oasis. The ideas so far seemingly require working with or getting approval from Nahida, as the management solutions require pumping water to Sumeru. What if Nahida says no to all of these? What if the villages in the desert already have running water, don't want water from Fontaine for their homes, to dampen the sand, or to create a rainforest? Well, we would have to be more aggressive.
What do you mean by that?
We just pump the water to the desert anyway. If Nahida has a problem, tell her to come fight me. This is a life and death situation for my people, so fuck it. Archons in Genshin remind me of Kages in Naruto. They are in a position of leadership. They oversee a village or nation in Genshin's case. People look up to them. People respect them. People follow their lead. But with that comes a lot of responsibility. One of which is, you are expected to protect these people even if it means at the cost of your life. A lot of Kages in Naruto, not just Hokages, died in battle protecting their village. It's what they signed up for. It comes with the job. So if you have to fight another archon to save your people, you gotta do what you gotta do. Or better yet, we could ask her for help. She is the god of wisdom. She has access to her mensal. We could ask her if she could help us come up with a solution. And that leads to my next idea. B. Ask for help. Whether it be from the Fontaine Research Institute, the Sumero Academia, the other archons, the Hexenzirkel, the Adepti. There are a lot of smart people and a lot of strong people in Teyvat. Ask for help. Even the Fatui for crying out loud. Although, they may want the hydronosis in return for their help. One other thing, how would this potential pipe network, water pump, and maybe even water treatment facility be funded? Raise taxes. Borrow loans from the Northland Bank. I'm sure the Fatui would like that. Or you could blackmail. Negotiate with the Fatui by offering them the opportunity to bail child. I know that he has already been convicted, but given the unique circumstance of different verdicts by the Iudex and the Oratrice, we could offer him bail for the sum required to fund the project, of course, while we investigate the matter. If evidence comes to light of his involvement, the original sentence stands and he will be sent back to prison. If it is discovered that he has committed a different crime, then he will be formally charged for that crime and put on trial. Or maybe we could borrow a loan from the Northland Bank and after the project is completed, suggest a deal to release child in exchange for debt cancellation. Granted, child has already escaped from prison, so maybe that is not even possible. Although, escaping from prison is another crime that he could be charged for. Maybe we could try to finesse that angle. Impractical. And so now we are getting into the more impractical ideas. Then again, it always seems impossible until it's done. Nelson Mandela. Also, I am aware that as players we may have more knowledge in general than a lot of the characters, or at least know things or people that not every character knows. I would start off small and keep taking bigger risks if the problem isn't solved. First, I would ask the Hexenzirkel for help. Maybe they could use their powers to collectively perform a spell or use magic to break or override the prophecy or prevent the water from rising anymore. As for specific members, we could ask Mona's master, Barbaloth, who is a hydromancer, to look into the stars to tell us if the prophecy will come true, and if so, when. Now we would have a timetable to work with and know how desperate we would need to be. We could ask Gold to make a dragon large enough to drink up at least half of the lake, and then it goes to the abyss and dies or go pee it out in another realm or something. We could ask Alice to put Fontaine or the water in the lake into a bottle like Bottle Land, or to create a bottle land for the people of Fontaine to move to and live in. We could ask Doddere to conduct an experiment in blasphemy in Fontaine, whatever that would mean. I wonder if Doddere would have been able to do what Valkyr couldn't? Separate the consciousnesses in the primordial sea and bring back someone who was dissolved? We could dissolve everyone, thereby fulfilling the prophecy and then bring them back. Although, we would need actual bodies to bring them back. Well, maybe he could create bodies for them from the primordial sea. So everyone would become like a hydro-eidolon version of their human self, like the NPCs in Bottle Land. Each person would need to give consent for this experiment to be performed on them. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for his other test subjects. Another idea, he could turn everyone in Fontaine into androids. Now we don't have to worry about drowning or being dissolved. The very thought alone of turning an entire nation into droids would probably cause him to bust a nut.
Lord have mercy, I'm about to bust.
Plus we could throw in the hydronosis too. Doddere for the motherfucking win. Please be playable. If evil, why hot? There are a lot of smart and a lot of powerful people in Teyvat. Ask for help. You would be surprised what some of these people could do or come up with. If we ask, and nobody can help, then I'm taking things into my own hands. We could pump water into the Tunergy Hollow down to Kinria. Nobody lives there. Well, I'm not sure if anyone still lives there. Maybe Hilichurls. Oh well, too bad. I mean, they could probably use some water underground. If Tunergy Hollow is sealed, then pump it through one of the underground entrances. I don't know if the doors require special keys to open them, but we could try to blow them up using dynamite. Is dynamite even in Genshin? If Dainsleif has a problem, he knows what to do. We could pump water to the Inazuma Sea with Raiden's permission or to Inkonomiya with Kokomi's permission. If they disagree, then I am pumping it to both places without their permission. If Raiden has a problem, nah, that ain't the move. That's just asking to get put on a shirt or turned into a pool. Or little puddle. I don't know. I might have to rethink that one. Moving on. We could pump water to the underground areas of the desert of Hadramaveth where Apep is. She is a large dragon and probably needs a lot of water. Plus she was sick and now she is recovering. She needs to drink even more water and get enough rest. Let us help you. Obviously, I'm joking. She probably doesn't drink water or eat. Does she feed on the ley lines? I don't know. But I'm still pumping the water there. She better learn to swim. I mean, if she wants, she could always attack us. If that were to happen, Celestia might get involved. Bro, we are just doing whatever we can to get Celestia's attention at this point. You made us. Please don't forsake us now. I would try to contact Celestia directly and ask for help. I don't know if Archons have a way to contact them or if breaking the Gnosis will awaken them. But if I'm unable to reach them by conventional means, I would commission the Fontaine Research Institute to develop large cannons, rockets, and missiles to shoot down or shoot at Celestia to get their attention. When they wake up, apologize and ask for their help. They either drop a celestial nail to fix the problem or to wipe us out. Like, who do you think you are? The irrigation of mankind ends now. I mean, we are screwed anyway. It is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
I'm wondering if that is why Celestia is over Fontaine. Are they aware of the issue? Are they working on it?
Nope.
Are they monitoring the primordial sea? Do they even care?
Nope.
If that doesn't work, or we are still alive and the problem isn't solved, I would capture an Abyss Herald. Beat him up. Well, we may have to beat him up to capture him, and force him to open a portal to the Abyss and pump water into the Abyss. If we're lucky, this may start an all-out war, forcing Celestia and the other Archons to get involved to avoid another Kenria situation. I don't know how that solves the problem, but at least we would get their attention. If we wipe out the Abyss, then we can pump all the water down there or wherever it is. The Traveler might even get to reunite with their sibling during the war. Not only would I have saved my people, but also allowed the Traveler to fulfill their main mission of reuniting with their sibling. Best Archon confirmed. Although, the twin may die in the war, or who knows, Celestia might get defeated, fulfilling even the Fatui's goals. I can't be stopped. If you think that was bad, I'm just getting started. If none of that works, I am going rogue. It's time to release my trump card.
You triggered my trap card!
I'm going to pump water. To her Minsel.
Huh?
I am fucking up the whole system. Celestia is gonna have to destroy this civilization and start all over when I am done. Even the primordial sea is getting pumped down there. I mean, it is a tree. Maybe it can absorb the water or convert the water to hydro and absorb it. Does it feed on water or the ley lines? Don't care. Either it absorbs the water or it withers and dies. If we die, we all die. Fontaine's problem is Tevat's problem. Fontaine's problem is Celestia's problem. A little bonus before we get to the biased ideas. This one is specific to the primordial sea. We could make upgrades to the current sluice gate or make additional sluice gates. Then slowly release primordial sea water into the lake, little by little to dilute it so that people who come in contact with it won't dissolve. We would still need to get rid of the excess lake water. So it's back to the pumping ideas. Biased. In this section, I will go over the ways I think that the other Archons could solve or manage this water issue that the Hydro Archon doesn't yet seem to know how to solve. This is kind of how the idea for this video came about. I was like, how can the Hydro Archon not solve a water problem? I know. Hydro and water are not the same thing. I don't fully understand, but okay. Like when Kia shoots out cryo with his skill and it hits water and makes an ice bridge. Is that cryo or is that ice? I don't know. Anyway, I am genuinely a bit confused as to why the prophecy seems like such a difficult thing to solve or manage. Furina says she has been thinking about it. But how long has she been the Archon? How long has the prophecy been around? What has she actually tried? Planning is important, but at some point you actually need to start taking action. Try something and see what works. So I started to think, how could the other Archons potentially tackle this problem? And these are the ideas I came up with. Venti. As much as I like to shit on Vinny for the scene with Signora, I think that Vinny may be one of the Archons most suited to manage this problem. Bendy could create windstorms or tornadoes on the lake, causing it to form into a hurricane and move it across Teyvat, depositing the water as rain in other nations once a year like a hurricane season. If he's currently too weak, he could ask Dvalin for help. We've seen Dvalin make tornadoes when he attacked Mondstadt. Heck, Storm Terror's lair was surrounded by a powerful windstorm for a while. Zhongli, he could raise the level of Fontaine each time the water rises until Fontaine is as high as Celestia, or sink the bottom of the lake so it gets deeper and deeper each time the water level rises. Not sure if it's very practical, but we move. Raiden, the Shogun, or I could perform a powerful horizontal slash with
The Muso no Hitotachi!
Creating a force powerful enough to push volumes of water over into the nearby desert. Nobody lives there. Or she could perform a vertical slash that parts the water and split the land below as deep as she can cut, causing the water to drain into the crevice. I'm not sure how thick Teyvat's crust is or what's below, but the water is going down there. This is kind of similar to Paymon's suggestion that they send Mecha underwater to dig a lot of drainage holes. Traveler replied that it sounded logical enough, but where would the water go? To which she replied some BS. But maybe Paimon was onto something. Let her cook. Nahida, I'm not sure about the trees in Teyvat, but IRL, trees can absorb between 10 to 150 gallons of water per day. She could use her dendro powers to grow a lot, maybe 1,000, 10,000 large trees in unpopulated areas with roots extending into the lake, to absorb water daily, thereby reducing the water level. Pyro Archon, evaporate as much or little of the water as she wants with her pyro powers. Easy. Cry Archon, permanently freeze the lake from top to bottom, preventing any further rise in water level. Additionally, she could use her power to break up the cryo or ice into small blocks and move it to other places. If she can't do that, then Mex can do that part if she wanted to remove the ice. This actually made me wonder if Snezhnaya is naturally cold or frozen, or if it is kept in a frozen state by the cryo Archon using her powers, similar to how Raiden had put a permanent storm around Inazuma. The only other place with snow is Dragonspine, and that was because of a celestial nail. Who knows? Basically, I think the Hydro Archon should be able to just move as much or little water from the lake as she wants. Or can, with her power, and put it somewhere else to absorb or evaporate. It wouldn't solve the problem, but just helps keep the water at a certain level. If you were the Hydro Archon or a powerful person in Teyvat, for example another Archon, someone from Hexenzirkel like Alice or Gold, how would you tackle this problem? Or in general, how do you think this problem could be solved within the world of Genshin? I would love to know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. And if you would like to see more videos in the future, don't forget to subscribe. Take care. Peace. I'm out.
Won't you take me home and give me wings to fly? We can be alone.